grade. I hope that you enjoyed our first reading of Those Shoes yesterday. I think that this book is a really important book to be reading because it can teach us a lot of really great lessons that we can carry with us throughout our lives of how to treat people with empathy and how to have compassion and to understand and try to help others in need. Now, yesterday we talked about needs versus wants and what Jeremy needed versus what Jeremy wanted. So I want you to think to yourself, what did Jeremy really want in our story? Yeah, he wanted those shoes. And I want you to think about why he wanted those shoes so desperately. And then what was something though that he needed in our story? Yeah, he needed those pair of winter boots that his grandma said that he needed because winter was coming up. Now, today, our job as a reader is to understand the key details within our text. So that's understanding those questions that can be answered directly from our text. So the characters, the setting, the problem, and the solution, and anything that can come directly from what we are reading. So we're going to do several of those together, and then in your Seesaw link, you are going to have a page of questions that come directly from our text today. So we are going to read our book, Those Shoes, by Mary Beth Boltz, illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. Those shoes. I have dreams about those shoes. Black high tops, 2 white stripes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for want around here, just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new boots for winter. Brandon T comes to school in those shoes. He's the fastest runner now, not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio, I count how many times Nate goes to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the halls real slow. Next, Alan, Jacoby, and Terrence each get a pair. So what is going on in our story that is kind of on Jeremy's mind? I want you to think about that. Yeah, I would say that he's thinking that all these other kids have those really cool shoes that he really wants, right? They all have them except him. And I'm thinking if I can maybe make a little thought bubble here, he's probably saying, man, I wish I had those shoes too. Then one day in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes comes apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Mr. Alfred, the guidance counselor says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size. Velcro. Like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. They have an animal on them from a cartoon I don't think any kid has ever watched. When I come back to the classroom, Alan Jacoby takes one look at the Mr. Alfrey shoes and laughs, and so do Terrence and Brandon T. and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, "How kind of Mr. Alfrey." I nod and turn my back. I'm not going to cry about any dumb shoes, but when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes, and my grip is so tight on my pencil I think it might burst. So what is making him so upset at this point in our book? Yeah, that he is upset because he had to have the shoes that his guidance counselor gave him, and he thought they looked a little babyish, right? And so he's feeling maybe a little bit embarrassed about having those shoes, and he's getting upset. On Saturday, Grandma says, "Let's check out those shoes you're wanting so much. I got a little bit of money to set aside. Might be enough. You never know." At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over so she can check the price. Then she sees it. When she sees it, she sits down heavy. "Maybe they wrote it down wrong," I say, and Grandma shakes her head. So on this page, she's looking at the price of the shoe, right? And it says she sits down heavy. What do you think it means that she sits down heavy? What is causing her to do that? Yeah, I think she's a little bit upset that the price is too much, and she's probably feeling upset that she is unable to pay for the shoes that Jeremy really wants, right? I know if I can't do something that I want to do, I feel really upset. Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his pair and he got two for Christmas and had to give one of them away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoes except the ones I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window. Black shoes with two white stripes, high tops, perfect shape. $2.50. Those shoes. My heart is pounding My heart is pounding hard as I take off my shoes and hitch up my baggy socks. How exciting, Grandma says. What size are they? I shove my foot into the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. I don't know, but I think they fit. Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toe at the end of the shoe. Oh, Jeremy, she says, I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit. I pull the other shoe on and try to walk around. They're okay, I say, holding my breath and praying that my toes will fall off right then and there. But my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my own money, and I squeeze them on and limp to the bus stop. Wow, well, it sounds like these shoes are too small for Jeremy. But why in the world would he buy his shoes that are too small for him? Why would he do that? Because you're thinking because he wants the shoes so badly that he would buy shoes that even were too small for him, right? He'd rather be uncomfortable than not having the shoes at all. At home a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my two big feet shuffling around in my two small shoes. Sometimes shoes stretch, I say, and Grandma gives me a hug. You see his boots in the closet over here? I shop every day, but those shoes don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfred's to school instead. One day during math, I glance at Antonio's shoes. On them is one of them is taped up, and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Antonio is there, the only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfred shoes. So why did Jeremy have to wear his Mr. Alfred shoes to school? Yeah, because his other shoes were too small and uncomfortable, and he wouldn't be able to wear them all day, and so he has to wear the Mr. Alfred shoes. We shoe baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoe smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think I'm not going to do it. We leap off the swings. I'm not going to do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not going to do it, I say. Do what? Antonio says, breathing hard. Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, he spies my shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. So remember, does our character Antonio have those shoes that everyone else has? He doesn't have them either. That night, I'm awake for a long time, thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall, and I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door, push the doorbell, and run. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face, and mad when I look at my Mr. Alfred shoes. So why do you think Antonio feels happy when he looks at, or why do you think Jeremy looks happy when he looks at Antonio's face? Yeah, he's probably feeling good about the choice he made of giving his shoes to someone who really needed them. Have you ever given a gift to somebody and when they open it, they get really excited and that makes you feel good inside? I think that's the compassion that our friend Jeremy is feeling. He feels really good about the thing that he did, that good deed he did for his friend. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that word on Thursday, the word compassion. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere there is snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall. It's then I remember what I have in my backpack. New boots. New black boots that no kid has ever worn. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forward and says, "Thanks." I smile and give him a nudge. Let's race. So now, first grade, that we have read our story, Those Shoes, for a second time. We went over some text-dependent questions to make sure we were understanding what was going on in the story using what we have text clues from our book. In Seesaw, you're going to open up and you're going to see that there's some questions in there as well that come straight from our book. So you're going to open up Seesaw, read those questions, and fill them out for me. And then I'll meet you back here tomorrow because tomorrow we're going to talk about how characters change throughout a book and the events that lead them to feel that way. So I will see everyone here tomorrow. Bye, first grade.